Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Love for Gasoline. Today we have the E90 320i from BMW. I'm going to take the car out for a test drive. Stay tuned, there's also burnouts that I've done, and I'm going to show you the pros and the cons about the car so that you can know if you'd like to buy one day. Anyways, let's get into it. BMW 320i E90 is from 2011, but this car was registered first in 2012. Now I was lucky enough to buy this car for 140,000, and I got this car with a medical kit, full service history, and one owner as well as 2 keys. I think that the car is not powerful at all, and the reason why I say that is because it runs a 2 litre with no turbo, and it's kind of just got 150 horsepower with 200 Newton meters. Now there's some sort of issue that I found with this car, which is when I put it on the dyno, it was actually hitting 90 horsepower on the, and for me there's definitely something wrong. A lot of people will point out that it could be a Vanos issue. Now Vanos is basically BMW's sort of version of VTEC, and it's basically got a intake and an outlet valve system that opens more wider after you get over about 4,000 RPM. Things that I think is kind of bad about this car is it has a electronic oil meter, so it'll basically tell you when your oil is low and what level your oil is at. But the problem is, if you want to service this car, for example, it takes about say 30 minutes in order for you to basically see what the reading is. So if I've already filled up, or if another technician has maybe filled up the oil and we didn't record that, basically you wouldn't know where exactly that oil is until you've basically driven it. So if you've driven it without oil, you're obviously going to mess up the engine, and if there was already oil put in, you'd obviously add too much oil, so it kind of messes up with absolutely everything. I think in terms of, like I said, the refinement, this car has a lot of electronics, so it'll let you know if your window washing fluid is basically low, it'll let you know if your brake fluid is low, it'll let you know if the water is low. The car does actually make up in the corners. And why I can say this is because it's a 4-cylinder, the engine sits almost behind the front wheels. And because of that, it means that you basically have almost a go-kart type of feel, but again, the suspension is set up in a comfort sort of thing. So with it being in a comfort mode and it's not being the sports pack, you kind of have these two conflicting situations. Now on the long road, I must say this car is sweet. At about 120, 140, you don't really feel it. It feels like you're just completely cruising in complete silence. I gotta say though that the sound system is also very good. However, if you take the sunroof, because the subwoofers are underneath the seats, it basically, as soon as you're going over about 120, 140, what happens is the pressure inside the car ends up changing. So it ends up sucking out the air, and because of that, your speakers end up distorting, and that can also get very, very frustrating. One of my most favorite things of this car is just to go around bends. It's just, oh man, I love it. Every single day. Whoa, we got a big one here. Taking this corner. It's a nice swooping corner. You just got to really be careful with this tail because it still is a rear wheel drive. So even though you don't have all the power, once you start getting to high speeds, the car can be a little bit tricky because of the soft suspension, so she wants to bounce around a little bit. But if you know how to handle it and you keep it completely steady, she just goes and goes. But again, you don't really feel it, and I think that's probably why I get to do this car reviews, because this is something that I get to go home with. So I get to enjoy the feeling of being stable and bumpy cars that's got like some sick suspension. But at the end of the day, when I'm done with that, I want to come home to something that's completely refined. And I'm really getting that with this car. I can't handle rattling. I can't handle something that makes me feel like, yes, it's performance, but the rest is obviously lacking. So I feel that this is something that can kind of give you everything that you need in a package. So it's comfortable. Like I said, it has leather seats. The air conditioning in this car is absolutely amazing. It is like a freaking walk-in fridge. It is so cold, and that's something that's really nice if you do a lot of traveling. Like, for example, I work on a daily basis with my car, so I go from client to client, and this means that, you know, I want to be in something that's comfortable. It doesn't have reverse parking sensors, which I also think is quite ridiculous. I mean, geez, it's such an old piece of technology that I don't see why it should be an optional extra. Other things is that I think that at that time BMW gave you the iDrive system, which was also an optional extra, or it was basically, I don't even think you could have had that with M3. I think that was also an optional extra. But please correct me and comment below if I'm right or wrong. If I must comment on the sound, I think that from the outside everybody likes to cheer me on whenever I drive past, but from the inside you don't really feel that, so you're very isolated. And I think that kind of is, maybe I bought this car for the wrong reasons, but I think, if I must be honest with you, you can't really drift or do donuts with this because it basically has an open differential. And if you don't know what that is, please go Google it and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Otherwise, watch this clip right now. You've watched that, you'd basically understand what I'm talking about. So one wheel will end up spinning, and that's the wheel with the least amount of grip. Now with the M3s, you'll find that they have a limited slip differential, and that'll allow you to do a burnout from start. But again, somebody that's buying an M3 is buying it for performance. The car comes with run flats, so it means that you don't get a spare tire. But what I did was I ended up buying a tire repair kit as well as a tire pump. And that's for me, you know. I mean, I can, there's nothing wrong with me. I can always get out of my car and fix something like that if need be. And if the tire bursts, either way, whether you have a run flat or a normal one, I think either way it's going to probably give you the same results. But those kind of tires are about maybe 700 bucks, and that's rands actually. And then basically, if you don't get that, you can spend about 1,200 to 1,400 rand in order to get run flats. So that might work you out a little bit expensive. I haven't checked how much it costs to get a service at BMW because I do it myself. But if you buy all of your parts through a company called Goldwagon, you'd basically get your servicing parts for around about 1,000 rand. I ended up replacing my brake pads. The front pads from Febi was 1,000 rand and the rear pads was 600 rand. That means that I needed to fit everything myself. Other bad things about the car is that everything inside the engine is basically plastic around the engine. So you're looking at plastic radiator on the sides. You're looking at plastic connectors on the hoses. So I ended up by accident breaking it just by tugging a small little bit on it, and that costed me 1,300 rand on that mistake. So quite horrible on that. I think they could have done a better job, but that's kind of the E90 story for you. So a lot of plastics. So the car feels like it has a lot of quality to it, and what I mean is you get soft touch materials on the dashboard, you get soft touch on the side panels by the windows, here by the door where you open it up, you basically get leather there. So there's a lot of nice quality. Everything that you touch basically feels quality. So like I said, the car isn't a performance car, but you've got a lot of quality on the inside. I've got a sunroof. Yeah, and I just think it's just such an overall great car to have. I do feel that I would like to sell it in the end, but I'm not going to get my money back. So this is the thing about BMWs, right? You buy it and you lose value very, very quickly on the car. I don't even know the reason for that, but I really wanted a BMW and I wanted a rear wheel drive car. I can definitely tell you there's a difference between handling, especially when it comes to front wheel and rear wheel. Rear wheel feels very naughty and it feels like a lot can go wrong and it's very dangerous, and that's kind of what I was after. I think that in terms of a front wheel, you get a lot of understeer, and that doesn't really, it just feels too safe for me. So I like this feeling of just being able to put my foot down in a corner and not having to let go of the throttle. Like this corner coming up here now, oh, you'll see now, it's just amazing. You just put your foot flat down as soon as you want to exit, flat down, and you just keep going. And I always can't get enough of this. I just wish the petrol could have been a little bit more, you know, better. But then I'd need a turbo car. I'd have to sacrifice it for an engine that's a little bit smaller. And yeah, so I think that about runs out the car. I just wanted to say thank you very much for watching. Sorry, I'm not perfect at this car review thing, but I'm trying to get there. So please make sure to subscribe, because obviously going forward, we're going to definitely make better videos. Next week will be the infamous Rivals car group meetup. So I'm going to be doing some filming on that. So Sia, just say hey.
Hi guys.
Just wanted to give you a big thank you. Like I said, Sia basically offered to come and help out with the filming, and wouldn't have been able to do this without him. It's been a difficult day. Sia knows this. Yeah. Not easy at all. The wind has been completely terrible in every single way. If I can make a recommendation for 140,000 Rand, I think that today, right now as we speak, if you can buy one for about 110,000 Rand with 120,000 kilometers on the clock and it's in really good condition, I'd definitely recommend getting one. Just make sure, like I said, the valve stem seals has been done, which this car has. Make sure that you do get your spare key. That does keep the value of the car, because they do decrease extremely fast. So make sure of that. The medical kits that I got in the car is not really an issue, but make sure there's no oil leaks, that the cooling system is working fine. And from my side, I can say it's a really good car. I love living with it. I think I might want to end up going for the 120D, the F20 model, but we'll see how that goes. The reason for that is obviously you have tuning potential in a car like that, where this you're kind of stuck with. I'd like to modify this car, but I just feel like it costs so much money to do a decent job. You don't want to do a shitty job on a BMW. So I think that to invest in this car is not really one of those cars that I want to do that with. But nevertheless, to live with it every single day, I can take this car anywhere. I feel so comfortable. I feel like I can do a trip from Cape Town to Johannesburg with no issues whatsoever, and you'd be so comfortable. So like I said, everyday car, perfect for me. You make your decision, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.